The arrival. The crystal chandeliers of the Metropolitan Plaza ballroom cast diamonds of light across marble floors as Emily Carter stepped out of the black limousine, her hand trembling slightly as it rested on her rounded belly. 8 months pregnant, she felt every eye turn toward her the moment she entered on Alexander's arm. "Mrs. Carter, over here!" Photographers shouted, their cameras flashing like lightning strikes. Alexander's hand pressed firmly against the small of her back, protective, possessive. For a fleeting moment, Emily allowed herself to believe everything might be all right. But then she heard them, the whispers slithering through the crowd like serpents through grass. "Is that really her? I thought she'd stopped coming to these events. Can you blame her?" After everything with Vanessa, Emily's breath caught. She'd been naive to think tonight would be different, that the rumors would have died by now. For 3 months, tabloids had splashed photos of Alexander and Vanessa Brooks across their pages. Intimate lunches, late-night business meetings, that damning picture of them leaving his office after midnight. Alexander had denied everything, his steel-gray eyes pleading for her trust. But trust, once fractured, was difficult to restore. "Emily," his voice was low, meant only for her. "You don't have to do this. We can leave." She straightened her spine, smoothing the emerald silk gown over her belly. "I'm not running anymore, Alexander. I'm your wife." The words hung between them, heavy with everything unsaid. The lonely nights, the unanswered questions, the growing distance that pregnancy hadn't bridged but widened. As they moved deeper into the glittering crowd, Emily felt the weight of judgment pressing down on her shoulders. Then she saw her. Vanessa Brooks stood near the bar, poured into a scarlet dress that left little to imagination, her lips curved in a smile that promised trouble. Their eyes met across the room, and Vanessa's smile widened. Emily's heart sank. The real nightmare was just beginning. The confrontation. The champagne flute felt cold in Emily's hand as she stood alone near the floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Manhattan skyline. Alexander had been pulled away by business associates, leaving her exposed and vulnerable among the circling elite. "Emily Carter." The voice was silk wrapped around steel. "What a surprise to see you here." Emily turned to find Vanessa Brooks standing inches away, her perfume overwhelming and expensive. Up close, the woman was flawless. Sharp cheekbones, perfectly coiffed hair, and eyes that glittered with malicious amusement. "Vanessa," Emily managed, her voice steadier than she felt. "My dear, you look exhausted." Vanessa's gaze traveled deliberately over Emily's swollen form. "Pregnancy really isn't kind to everyone, is it? I suppose some women just bloom while others—" She waved her hand dismissively. "Well?" Heat flooded Emily's cheeks as nearby guests turned to watch, their conversations dying to catch every word. "Alexander seems particularly stressed lately," Vanessa continued, stepping closer. "All those late nights at the office. Such dedication to his work." Her smile sharpened. "Or perhaps dedication to something else?" "That's enough." Emily's voice cracked despite her efforts. "Is it, though?" Vanessa's laugh tinkled like breaking glass. "Darling, look around. Everyone here knows the truth. You're clinging to a man who's already moved on. This desperate attempt to keep him, showing up here in your condition, playing the devoted wife, it's honestly pathetic." Laughter rippled through the nearby crowd. Emily felt tears burning behind her eyes, her hands instinctively moving to protect her belly. The baby kicked as if sensing her distress. "At least have some dignity," Vanessa said loudly enough for half the ballroom to hear. "Accept that some women are meant to be wives, and others are meant to be my everything." The deep voice cut through the tension like a knife. Alexander stood behind Vanessa, his expression thunderous, his eyes locked on Emily with an intensity that made her breath catch. The room fell absolutely silent. The declaration Alexander moved past Vanessa without a glance, crossing the space to Emily in 3 swift strides. His hands cupped her face gently, thumbs brushing away tears she hadn't realized were falling. "Alexander, I—" Emily whispered. "No." His voice was tender but firm. "Not another word, not another tear. Not for her, not for any of them." He turned to face the assembled crowd, keeping one arm wrapped protectively around Emily's shoulders. The ballroom had become a theater, every guest frozen in anticipation of what would happen next. "I owe everyone here an apology," Alexander began, his voice carrying effortlessly across the marble and crystal. "For months, I've allowed rumors to circulate. I've remained silent while my wife, the woman I love more than my own life, has been subjected to humiliation and speculation." Vanessa's confident smile began to falter. "The truth is simple," Alexander continued. "Yes, Vanessa Brooks and I had meetings. Business meetings to finalize the termination of our professional relationship after I discovered she'd been embezzling funds from the Carter Foundation." His words landed like bombs. The late nights weren't affairs. They were meetings with lawyers and forensic accountants building a case against her. Gasps echoed through the crowd. Vanessa's face drained of color. "I kept silent to protect the investigation," Alexander said, his arm tightening around Emily. "But my silence cost me something far more valuable than any amount of money. It cost me my wife's peace of mind. It allowed people like Vanessa to weaponize lies and prey on Emily's insecurities during the most vulnerable time of her life." He turned to Emily, his gray eyes shimmering with emotion. "I have made many mistakes, Emily. I prioritized pride over communication. I thought protecting you from the ugly details would spare you pain, but instead I left you alone with your doubts. I am sorry, sorrier than words can express." Emily's heart hammered against her ribs. "But make no mistake," Alexander's voice hardened as he addressed the room again. "There has never been, nor will there ever be, another woman for me. Emily Carter is my wife, my partner, the mother of my child, and the love of my life." The reckoning. The ballroom erupted in whispers, but Alexander wasn't finished. He gestured toward the entrance where two security guards had appeared, flanked by a man in a dark suit carrying a leather briefcase. "Vanessa Brooks," Alexander's voice was ice, "you're no longer welcome here. Security will escort you out. My attorneys will be in contact regarding the criminal charges being filed tomorrow morning." Vanessa's perfect composure shattered. "You can't do this. You have no proof." 18 months of falsified receipts, diverted donations, and fraudulent transactions. The man with the briefcase stepped forward. "All documented and ready for the district attorney, Ms. Brooks. I'd suggest you contact your lawyer." The color drained completely from Vanessa's face as the guards moved toward her. She looked around desperately, but the crowd that had laughed at Emily's expense now parted like water, distancing themselves from the scandal. "This isn't over, Alexander," Vanessa hissed as the guards took her arms. "You'll regret this." "The only thing I regret," Alexander said quietly, "is not doing this sooner. For my wife's sake." As Vanessa was led away, her heels clicking furiously against marble, the ballroom remained suspended in shocked silence. Then slowly, applause began. First one person, then another, until the room filled with it. But Emily barely heard it. Her world had narrowed to the man standing before her, the husband she'd thought she'd lost. "Alexander," she breathed, her voice breaking, "why didn't you tell me? All those nights I waited thinking, I know." He pulled her close, careful of her belly. "I thought I was protecting you and the baby from stress. The doctors said you needed calm, and I feared if you knew about the investigation, the depositions, the ugliness of it all." He pressed his forehead to hers. "I was a fool. I should have trusted you with the truth." Emily's hands found his chest, feeling his heartbeat race beneath her palms. "I thought you didn't love me anymore. I thought the baby and I were burdens you regretted." "Never." The word was fierce. "Emily, you are my anchor. This child is my future. Everything I've built means nothing without you both." Around them, guests began to disperse, granting them a bubble of privacy. The orchestra, sensing the shift in mood, began playing a soft waltz. "Dance with me," Alexander whispered. "Let me hold you. Let me prove that you're the only woman I see." Redemption Emily allowed herself to be pulled into Alexander's arms, moving slowly to the music despite her ungainly form. His hand splayed protectively across her back, the other cradling hers against his chest. Around them, a few other couples joined the dance floor, but Emily was aware only of him. I was so scared, she admitted, her head resting against his shoulder. Scared of losing you. Scared of raising our baby alone. Scared that I wasn't enough. You are everything, Alexander murmured into her hair. And I will spend every day proving it. No more secrets, no more silence. I promise you, Emily, complete transparency from this moment forward. The baby kicked forcefully, making them both pause. Alexander's hand moved to her belly, his face transforming with wonder as he felt his child's movement. He's strong, Emily said softly, like his father. She's perfect, Alexander countered with a small smile. Like her mother.